Hello, this is Noah Warden, and I will be doing a demonstration of the one of the custom mechanics that I designed for my abandoned factory level, which is the wall jump. I showed it off in the previous video of me completing the level through all of the pathing. It just comprises these glowing walls here, and all it does is it takes the player velocity and it it sets the player velocity for a different angle and different adjacent angle rather, and it continues them forward. I didn't make that jump that time, but yeah, so it's not a true wall jump. All it does is it launches the player, so the player doesn't do any other input aside the first initial jump into the first wall, but they can bounce between multiple walls. There we go. So depending on the walls, you will be able to bounce back and forth between other walls, and using enough of them, you can build wall jump puzzles, wherein the player has to bounce between a couple walls at a time in order to gain proper elevation and continue upward. If I can get at the right angle. There we go. So as you can see, going up and up and up. These are what I mostly use the wall jumps for. And there's one other segment over here. Bouncing between multiple walls. And then one more wall jump section right here. Oh, I was too low that time. Right here, just for the sake of demonstration. And last but certainly not least, this triple bounce. Dang. But yeah, that's the gist of it. Let's see if I can actually get this triple bounce for this video. And there we go. And there, of course, the wall jumps in the generator room so that you can jump, well, if you're down here, you wall jump against these two walls to come to this pipe, wall jump again, you're on the main platform. To get to the button at the top of the generator, wall jump right there, land here, and then, yeah, there you go. So yeah, there is indeed it is a separate blueprint. All it contains is the wall, and simply some code that when the player does collide, which is, I'll show you where it is, but when the player does hit it, it essentially disables the functionality of the wall for just a little while, as to prevent the player from being able to constantly bounce into the same wall over and over and over again. But most of the actual code is in the player blueprint. So this is the actual math here for the collisions and launching. So what it does is it takes the impulse, or the impact, and it multiplies it by a pre-hit velocity, which is being set practically every tick, but it adds a delay, so it doesn't take the velocity of the player the moment they hit. It takes it rather 0.1 second before they hit it, in which case it checks if it's a wall jump wall, if it's activated. If it is, I have a custom function just to determine if we're in the air, which calls to the animation blueprint, which has a actual is in air variable. And we plug that into some more branches, and then we launch the player by taking the pre-hit velocity as well as the normal impact, and we just multiply the length by 1, so we're keeping it exactly the same. This is how I could increase or decrease the power of the launch using this number right here. And plug it into the launch. And then that feeds into this event in the BP jump wall that we saw earlier. All this code, this one right here, is for statistics keeping, the endgame stats that show up. And then, of course, after unactivates, statistics tracker, and then reactivates. Yeah, I do not claim this as original. I had to look online for help for the what I had in mind in terms of wall jumps. So like I said, it's not an actual wall jump, it's just a bounce. So it just bounces the player off of the wall with the same velocity. But yeah, this is heavily taken and inspired by other examples from online. So yeah, definitely not original code, but it works for my purposes, and it is also easily modifiable from this current state. So I do plan to modify definitely the power later for later renditions. I kept it at 1 because I thought it was appropriate at first, but due to recent tests, it appears that people expected the walls to behave differently, so I will be fixing that later.